Hello. So now we have designed all of our parts, and I believe your instructor is supplying you with the bearing. So we're just going to start a new assembly file and start putting everything together in an assembly. So new assembly, okay. And the first part we are going to bring in is the base, because that base is going to be fixed and everything else is going to be made to it. So just browse. You can browse, and if you still have all your part open, everything should show in this part assembly to insert. And I'm just going to find the base. So it's this stock support base. Not sure what's wrong with that. Okay, the stock support base, I'm going to select that, and now I can move it around in here, but don't click in here, just click this checkbox to drop it, and that fixes it for you. So that means the plane in the assembly and the plane for this part they are both on the same plane and origin point, and this is fixed, which is the F. So now we have this part in, we're just going to bring in the rest. So we're going to work from the bottom up. So the next thing is the bearing. So I'm going to insert components, and I'm going to browse to where I have the bearing, bring that in. I'm just going to click once on the screen, and the mate I'm going to add to this is click mate, and click this face and this face. You want to make those two together, and I'm going to drag this up a little bit, and we want to mate this bottom face to this bottom face, and the top face of that, and click OK. And we are done with that one. That's the first mate we need. And we are going to bring in our next part. So I'm just going to go to the front plane of this. So bring in your next part, insert. Your next part will be this adjusting screw nut. So adjusting screw nut, bring this in, and I'm going to select this. You can mate, select this, anyone that it doesn't matter, this face and this face, mate those two together concentric, and we're going to select this face and mate it to that face, and click OK. Good. So now that is done, and the next part we can bring in is the adjusting nut handle. So insert adjusting nut handle, just going to bring that in, and I'm just going to this, when we made it, we want to fix it. So let me find the front plane of this. So this part, the front plane is right here. So we want to be mating this to one of this circle. We can mate it to this circle or this circle, because we are going to use this plane to constrain it. So you see what I mean. So I'm going to mate this face circle, that face to this face. That'll be a concentric. I'm just going to drag this out a little bit, and I'm going to mate this face to this inside edge. If I can zoom in, inside edge, and that will be coincident, and I'll click OK for now. And the reason why, see how this is still spinning, we want to fix it because we're going to be using this to spin this around. So I'm going to find I think it's the, let me see, yes, the right plane of this. So the right plane, so if you click on this adjusting handle, drop down the right plane, I want to mate it to the front plane of that adjusting screw. So the right plane of this made it to the front plane, or just mate the plane so that way they are both coincident with each other, and click OK. So now if I move this around, I can use this to spin that around, which is what I want. Good. So I'm just going to minimize this, and the next thing we want to do is, instead of putting this in 4 times, we can use the on the circular component pattern, and perimeter, we're going to select the circular edge. Components to pattern, select this, and equal spacing 4 times, and that puts all those components in there for us. And we are done with that part, and we're moving on. The next part we are going to insert is this bracket. So browse, insert component. I'm going to find my bracket, support ruler bracket. Let's bring it in, click, and again we want to mate. You can mate this circular face. Any circular face you see, you can mate it to any circular face. So this circular inside, I can mate it to this outside, and that gives me the concentric, and that's that. So this part is moving up and down, but it's still spinning, but it's not supposed to spin. It's supposed to stay fixed. We know this is the front, so let me go to the front. So that's the front view. And also make sure that this bracket, you are on the front plane of it, which we are. So now we want to mate the front plane of this bracket to the front plane of this base, because that's how we designed it. So the front and the front mate. So that gives you a coincident, and click OK and OK. So now this is moving up and down, and you can't rotate it, and that's exactly what you want. So that part is done for now. And again, we are going to insert our next component, and which is going to be this part, and that is the stock support ruler. So you can browse, or if you have it open, it should show up in here, and I'm just going to bring it in. Mate, you want to mate this face to that circular face, and concentric, and click OK. And then what we want to do is we want to center this about this. So what you can use to do that is come to advanced. So the drop down to advanced, you want to use this width. So how this works is the outside edge that are the widest, you want to select that first. So we'll select this face and this face. And the inside edge, we are going to select this face and this face. So what that does is it centers that around those two faces, and click OK and OK. And that part is done. So we have that now. And the next thing we want to do is bring in our, let's do this one first. We'll bring in this, no, let's bring in this screw. So insert component, what's that called? Support adjusting screw. So I'm just gonna find my support adjusting screw, which is this. I'm going to bring this in, and looking at this keyway is supposed to be facing this side. So you can do it now or later, it doesn't matter. And you see how this keyway, another thing, the wider part is supposed to be facing us. So and now everything will make sense to you in a bit. So we want to mate this circular face to any circular face, it doesn't matter. So that gives you the concentric. And I kind of spin mine in the right way. So what I can do now is this adjusting screw, I can find the right plane, which is right there, and I can mate it to let me make sure. So this is the front plane. So this base, if you click down, we want to mate it to the front plane of that base. So the right plane of this, mate it to the front plane, and that gives you that, and click OK. And I'm just going to section it just to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So the reason why I did that is because you see this keyway is supposed to be facing the here. And another thing you need to make sure is that the larger tapered hole is facing the front view. So I think I have it right. And now we want to apply another mate, which is going to be the top face of this. It's going to be coincident with this face, and click OK. So now this moves this up and down. Good. And the next thing we need to do is add this the adjusting screw guide. So insert adjusting screw guide, I'm going to bring that in. I'm just going to click over there and drop it, and mate. So I'm going to mate, click any two circular part, and that gives you concentric, but my key thing is pointing in the wrong direction, and I can use this to flip it. So that flips it in the right direction, and click OK. So I have my concentric, and this face is going to be tangent to this inside face, and that's what we're going to do. So click, I'm still in the mate, click this face and click this face, and that gives you the tangent constraint, the tangent mate, and click OK. And that is how that should be, and click OK again. And two more things we have to bring in. So I'm going to bring in the not the mate, insert components, and bring in the nut. So X-jam nut, and I will select this face and select that. So mate, so I want to mate this face to this face. Good. And I want to mate this face to this face. Good. So one more stuff. So we have the tapered pin. So I'm going to bring that in again. Tapered pin, and I'm just going to put that right here. So the larger part is facing my front view, so I'm just going to click mate. So I want to mate this face to this inside face, and that actually puts everything coincident for me because of the way we designed it, and which is exactly what I want. So it's 4, everything is going where it should go. Good. So I'm gonna click OK, and let's section this to make sure we have that right. So if I section it about that plane, and you see my pin is going in, and it's not actually being coincident with anything. It's actually just going in, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so this part is now completed. We have all of our mates in, and the next thing is your instructor wants you to add like a screw mate. So anytime you rotate this actually screws up and down. So how you do that is I'm going to section this for now, about this plane and about this plane, and I'm just going to move this down. I'm going to zoom in and move this down. So this is another way you see how we design our screw. You can see that everything looks good, that this thread is actually, your external thread is threading into your internal thread. So before I make my screw, I was like moving it this way. So I have my thread in the position it's supposed to be. This is just like a estimate. It doesn't have to be exact, just put it somewhere over there. And this is how I do it. It works for me. If you have any other option, or if there's a better way, please let me know. I love to learn from you. So I have it this way. So to do your screw thread, you come to mate, mechanical. So you come down to your mate mechanical, and you want to select the screw, and for this thread is two threads per inch. So over here we're just going to change that revolutions per inch. We're going to change that number to 2. And for the face, we are going to select, so if I move this way, I'm going to select this face. That's the inside face of that. I always like selecting it over there. And for the outside, for the second face, I'm going to select that inside face of my external thread, my internal thread. So see that face, so I'm just going to click. So while in here, I'm going to click that face. Oh, it's not letting me. I'm going to click this face. So any of those face should work as long as you're getting the face for the internal threads. So I have my face 1 and face 2, and this number again, change it to 2 and click OK and OK. So now when I move this up and down, you see, and that is spinning. But what I'm trying to make sure is that anytime you move it up and down, your thread stays in the, your internal threads, your external thread stays in the internal thread, and is not just like this is not over here. So I should drag this up and down. It would always be on the inside. I don't know if you can see it. It would always be on the inside. So for your screw thread, all you want to do is select, when you position it, select this face and select any face of the internal thread, and that should give you this mate. And I'm going to unsection that, and I'm going to make this transparent so you can see it. So as you can see, that is over there. When I move this up and down, you can see that thread is going in and out. This thread is not showing up in this area. Look in this area. Those threads should not show up in those area at any point. And that's how you know you have the right, you've done it correctly. Okay, so moving on, I don't want to waste too much time on that. And if you have any question, just leave a comment and I'll be more than happy to help you. And I can also send this model to you as an example for you to look at. So that's your screw thread. Your homework assignment is pretty much completed. But now look at this. This is bleeding into this part, and you don't want that. And or this part I can drag this part out. You don't want that. So what you want to do is add a limit constraint to it, so that anytime this part touches that part, it stops. So how you do that is, I'm just going to bring this up, and I'm going to go into mate, advanced mate. You want to select the limit, which is this one, and we are going to be using this one, the first one. So the distance limit. So change this number to 0. This number is always 0 because that's how far up and down that can go. So that's the minimum value. It says that's 0. For this one, that one is going to be in here. Just put 21. So that's how far this will go up and down. And the face you want to apply those mates to is this face and this face, and 21, and click OK. So now you see we've applied this mate. So when I move this up and down, when I drop this part, it doesn't bleed into that part. Now we need to do the same thing at the bottom. So the reason I worked with this part earlier, and this face you can't select it just because of that's how SolidWorks is just acting up. It doesn't let you select this face. So which is why when we made this screw, I told you to make a plane that is coincident with this face, and we'll be going to be using that plane to apply the limit tolerance. I mean, not the limit tolerance, the limit mate. So so what I want you to do, and you have to do it in this order for it to work. So bring this part down until it's touching that. Let me go number 2. Bring this part down until that face is touching. So once you have something like this, click on this drop down. Which one is this part? Yeah, this support adjustment. Click on the drop down and select this plane 1, and now select mate. And you have to do it in this order for it to work. I don't know, it's kind of weird. So you have your plane 1 in here. Now go to advanced, and you want to select this limit mate, and this is going to be 0, and this is going to be 20. And now that plane is selected. Now you want to select this face over here for that. And these numbers, this is the same numbers you want to have. Make sure you select this and 20 and click OK. And click OK. And you see it was giving you that error, but it still worked. And so now it's kind of like it's not an error, it's a warning. So now if I'm going to the section this so you see what's going on. So if I pull this and drag it down, it stops over there, and if I pull it up, it stops over there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna zoom in. So take this, drag it down, stops, drag it up, stops. So in actuality, that's how it's going to work. And my thread is staying in the thread, and that is pretty much this plot, and you've completed it. I know this I hope I explained this very well. So I'm not even going to bother adding materials to it. You can apply the material yourself, or in another tutorial I'm just going to use the same assembly and just do a tutorial on how to apply materials in the assembly and on the part file. Anyway, this is this assembly. Everything is completed, and you can use this to spin it too. It does the same thing. You can use this handle to spin it. It does the same thing. Anyway, thank you, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.